In the dim glow of a late Tuesday evening, in a cramped dorm room where privacy was a whispered myth, I found myself caught in a moment that would unravel the threads of my reality. The air was heavy with the hum of a fan, the distant laughter of strangers in the hallway, and the soft rustle of my own breath as I lay sprawled across my bed, bare as the day I was born. The world outside my door felt miles away, and for once, I was alone, or so I thought. My roommate, Jack, was my anchor. In the chaos of college life, he was the kind of person who stormed into rooms without warning, his presence as familiar as the worn out sneakers he always kicked off by the door. We'd shared everything since freshman year: late night talks, bad pizza, the kind of secrets you only confess when the world is asleep. I thought I knew him inside out, his crooked grin, the way he'd hum off key to songs he didn't know, the restless energy that followed him like a shadow. But that night, I learned there were parts of him, of us, I hadn't dared to see. Jack was supposed to be gone, delivering a lecture, and then buried in his study group until the early hours. He left with purpose, his backpack slung over one shoulder, the door slamming behind him. The dorm was mine, a rare sanctuary. I shed my clothes like a second skin, letting the cool air kiss my body as I sank into the quiet. No music, no distractions, just me, my phone, and the soft glow of memes flickering across the screen. It was freedom, raw and unfiltered, the kind you only taste when no one's watching. I didn't hear the keys, didn't notice the soft click of the lock. The door flew open, and light spilled in like an intruder. Jack stood there mid-sentence, his words dying as his eyes locked onto me. Time fractured. My heart slammed against my ribs, every inch of my exposed skin burning under his gaze. He froze, 1 foot in the room, his mouth slightly agape, eyes wide with something I couldn't name. Shock? Amusement? Something deeper? I grabbed for the blanket, my hands clumsy, my voice is strangled. You said you'd be gone all night. Jack blinked, his face a mix of confusion and defense. Study group got canceled, he mumbled, his eyes darting around like he'd stumbled into a forbidden scene. I texted you, do not disturb. I shot back, my breath ragged. He shut the door, leaning against it, his arms crossed as if to brace himself. The silence was deafening, charged with something neither of us could ignore. I clutched the blanket tighter, my heart still racing, but Jack didn't move. He just watched me, his expression softening into something I didn't recognize. I should have knocked, he said finally, his voice low, almost apologetic. Yeah, you really should have, I whispered. Buried in the covers, he sat on the edge of his bed, slow, cautious, like I might bolt. Is this something you do when I'm not here? His tone wasn't mocking, it was curious, almost tender. When you say you'll be gone for hours? Yeah, I tried to sound defiant, but my voice cracked. He nodded, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Didn't expect to walk in on a full moon. I rolled my eyes, but the tension didn't break. It shifted. His face grew serious, his voice softer. I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. I'm okay, I said, quieter now. But his gaze lingered, and in it, I saw something flicker, something that wasn't just embarrassment. Something that made my chest tighten. Next time, send a warning, I added, trying to lighten the mood. Next time, he echoed, but his eyes didn't leave mine. He didn't move, didn't retreat to his usual jokes or distractions. He stayed, his elbows on his knees, watching me from across the room. The air felt thicker, alive with unspoken questions. It's not like I've never seen you shirtless, he said after a beat, his voice teasing but unsteady. Shirtless is different than this, I replied, raising an eyebrow. He chuckled, but it was real raw. Then his gaze locked onto mine again, and this time he didn't look away. I didn't mean to, but now I can't unsee it. Not just. Your body. The look on your face. The way you were just. Being, his words hit like a shockwave. I swallowed hard, my pulse thundering. Do you usually feel that free when you're alone? He asked, his voice so soft it barely reached me. I hesitated, the question slicing. Through years of careful distance. Sometimes, I admitted. It feels good to stop pretending for a moment. Jack's shoulders relaxed, but his eyes didn't waver. The room felt smaller, the space between us shrinking, though neither of us moved. You ever think about what people don't say? He asked suddenly. How silence says more than words. I blinked, caught off guard. Sometimes he leaned back, his jaw tight despite his casual pose. We dance around feelings we already share because we're too scared to speak them. My breath hitched. Were we talking about the same thing? I answered slowly, choosing my words like they might shatter the moment. Then maybe we shouldn't ignore it. Whatever this is, Jack's eyes were unreadable, but he nodded. Okay, it was a single word, but it felt like a vow. A step onto a ledge we couldn't uncross, the silence stretched, electric, terrifying. I shifted, the blanket slipping slightly, and Jack's eyes flicked toward it, then back to mine. Neither of us looked away. I should probably put something on, I said, but I didn't move. He didn't either. You ever feel like we've been dodging something? He asked, his voice rough, laughing too hard, looking too long, not saying what we already know. My heart pounded so loud I was. Sure you could hear it? Yeah, I whispered. Have you thought about it? Not just tonight. Us. He took his time, his eyes never leaving mine. Yeah, but not in a way that made sense. You were the one thing I kept trying to not want. The confession hung in the air, heavy and fragile. I let it settle, afraid to break it. You're not just experimenting, are you? I asked, my voice trembling. Jack sat straighter. No, I've been trying to figure this out for a while. I don't have all the answers, but I know I don't want to wonder what if forever. His words grounded me. I shifted closer, our knees brushing, the contact sending sparks through me. You're shaking, he said softly. So are you, I whispered back. He raised a hand, hesitating, then touched my jaw. His fingers trembled, but I leaned into it, my silent answer. His thumb brushed the corner of my mouth, and the world narrowed to that single point of contact. One kiss could change everything, he murmured. Maybe, I breathed, my voice barely audible. His hand slipped behind my neck, his fingers threading through my hair. He leaned in, slow, careful, our lips brushing in a ghost of a kiss. It was enough to send a shockwave through me. He exhaled, his forehead pressing against mine. Tell me if you want to stop. I don't, I said, and meant it. The next kiss was deeper, softer, full of a heat we'd buried for too long. It wasn't rushed, it was deliberate, like we both understood the weight of it. His hand cupped my neck, anchoring me, and I leaned closer, my hands finding his waist, his skin hot beneath my touch. A soft sound escaped him, raw and unguarded, and it broke something open in me. We pulled back, just enough to look at each other. Is this okay? He asked, his eyes searching mine. More than okay, I whispered, my hand sliding up his side. I've wanted this for so long. His expression softened, and he kissed me again, more urgently, like my words had shattered his last restraint. The mattress dipped as he shifted. Closer, his leg brushing mine, the nearness overwhelming. My hands moved on instinct, one slipping beneath his shirt, the other around his waist. He tensed, then arched into my touch, his breath hitching. He eased me down onto the bed, his knee between mine, and I opened for him without thinking. The weight of him, the heat of his skin, it was too much and not enough. I tugged at his shirt, and he paused, his eyes asking again. I nodded, lifting the fabric, and he pulled it off, tossing it aside. His chest was flushed, his muscles taut. But it was his eyes that undid me like I was something precious. Something he didn't want to break. You're not dreaming, he whispered, more to himself than me. I pulled him back, my fingers in his hair, and kissed him with everything I'd held back. His hands traced my skin, hesitant at first, then bolder, learning every inch of me. His mouth moved along my jaw, my throat, each kiss slow, reverent. I gasped when he found the spot beneath my ear, and he tightened his grip, a soft moan vibrating through us both. We undressed each other without words, not to rush, but to feel skin to skin. Nothing between us. The air pulsed with something sacred, every touch sparking something deeper, primal. His hips moved gently, just enough to make me arch, gasp, hold him tighter. It wasn't overwhelming in a way that scared me, it was overwhelming in a way that made me want to disappear into him when he looked at me again. His eyes were soft, breaking me open. This wasn't curiosity or experiment. He was here because he couldn't not be. He kissed me harder, like he meant every second, and I felt tears rise unbidden. Afterward, we went still, our breaths the only sound, our bodies tangled in the quiet. It wasn't lust that drove us, it was need, raw and honest. We clung to each other, hearts racing, and something inside me shifted. Not broken, but changed. The next morning, golden light slipped through the blinds, painting stripes across Jack's bare back. He slept, his breathing calm, lips parted, eyelashes brushing his cheeks. I watched him, my heart stuttering at the sight. This wasn't a dream or a mistake, it was real. He stirred, blinking sleepily, then smiled a slow, shy smile that made my chest ache. "Hey," he said, his voice rough. "Hey," I whispered back. He wrapped an arm around my waist, pulling me close, like it was the most natural thing in the world. "I have no idea what time it is," he mumbled. "It doesn't matter," I said, and meant it. We lay there, curled under the blanket, the world outside irrelevant. "I meant everything I said last night," he said softly. "None of it was. Just." In the moment, relief flooded me. "Me either," I said. He kissed me gently, like we were sealing something. "We'll figure it out," he whispered, his forehead against mine. There were still questions about us, our friendship, our futures, but they didn't scare me anymore. His fingers laced through mine, and I realized we weren't just friends. We were something more, something real, something to build on. Stepping outside later, the world felt different. The air was sharper, the colors brighter. I didn't know where this was going, but for the first time, I wasn't afraid of the unknown. Jack's words echoed in my mind, and I believed them. We'd figure it out together.